Hello and welcome to A Layman Looks at the Word with Hal Richardson. This time we're continuing with our study, The Last Generation. And this will be Lesson 4 in the series. Briefly, we've been discussing things that are happening in the world today around us that show us the time is close for Jesus' return. This shouldn't make us afraid, because we are to walk in the light. God said we are the children of light, and as the children of light, we are to teach the good news. It is good news for us that the Lord's soon to return. He's coming to get us. And we are to let our light shine on the earth, to let others know that His return is close. One World Religion Headquarters. Here's a quote. A One World Religion headquarters is set to open in 2022. The headquarters will be called the Abrahamic Family House and is being built on an island in a Middle Eastern city of Abu Dhabi. The headquarters is being done in collaboration with Pope Francis and Sunni Muslim leader Sheikh Amin al-Taib, after they both signed a global peace covenant called the Document of the Human Fraternity for World Peace. World Religion Headquarters will have 3 buildings, one building each representing the mosque, church, and synagogue. However, the church is not permitted to have a cross on the building as a method of identifying it, as it is illegal to display a Christian cross on the building in the United Arab Emirates. This is from backtojerusalem.com, One World Religion Headquarters set to open next year. As you can see by this picture, the building's already built. It could be open now. I'm not sure about that, but it will open this year if it isn't open now. And it lets us know that the coming of a one world religion is right around the corner. Israel is prepared to build the third temple. We see here a picture of Ezekiel's temple, which he prophesied that would be done. It has to be built before the Great Tribulation because the Antichrist stops the worship there. Orthodox Judaism has been preparing for the building of the third temple for some time now, and leading the way is the Temple Institute, which is credited with the following pictures and the red heifer comments. The Temple Institute has trained Levites in all of the sacrificial laws and the procedures for doing such sacrifices. Here are Levitical priests that are learning about all of the altar procedures for burnt sacrifices and the different sacrifices that are going to take place. The Temple Institute has made all of the instruments and furniture to establish a working temple once one is built. This includes a menorah for light in the holy place, and the one they built is like the one in the Bible. It's almost 100 pounds of solid gold hammered into its present shape. Also, the table of showbread, which is also made out of gold, is going to be part of the holy place as well. Also, they have the altar of incense, also made of gold, with the crown on the top, and it also will be right in the holy place, right before the veil that separates the holy place from the Holy of Holies. In order to cleanse the Temple Mount that's been in the hand of the Gentiles for so long, it has to have the ashes of a red heifer that's perfect. And their in search for the perfect red heifer is still in progress, and they are finding several candidates. Here's a quote from March of 2022 from the Temple Institute. Over the past 6 months, the Temple Institute has expanded its efforts to raise a red heifer in Israel, whose ashes can be used to achieve the highest level of biblical purity, which will enable the Kohanim and ordinary Jews to enter in the areas of the Temple Mount where the inner temple courtyards and the temple sanctuary are located, a prerequisite for the renewal of divine service in the Holy Temple. They have a model of the Ark of the Covenant, but they say that they know where the actual Ark is and that it will be brought out when the time is right. It is interesting that Ron Wyatt, an amateur archaeologist who is a strong Christian, who has passed on to be in heaven now, said he saw the Ark of the Covenant. And that is what the angels told him, that it would be brought out at the right time. Ron was doing excavations with permission of the Israeli government. And here is what Wyatt described as the Ark of the Covenant. In the book of Ezekiel, he describes in detail the building of the third temple. In Revelation and in Daniel, they tell us that the Antichrist will take away the daily sacrifice in the temple and cause everyone to worship him as God. Jesus' warning, the days of Noah. In Luke 17:26, and as it was in the days of Noah, so should also be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, and they drank, and they married wives, and they were given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, and they drank, and they bought, and they sold, and they planted, and they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. And in Matthew 24:37, but as the days of Noah were, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and they knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. In Noah's day, the Nephilim were prevalent, or the giants, in Genesis 6. With the rise of UFO sightings and the government-recognized UAPs, the abominable creatures that are half angel and half human may come back in abundance. And there will probably be a great deception that they are from other galaxies or planets within our own galaxy. It is interesting that Jesus mentions in both these accounts that they were marrying and giving in marriage. Could this be a reference to the actions of the fallen angels mentioned in Genesis 6? And it's also interesting that in Luke, he mentions Sodom, but Matthew does not. The third day. Dispensations of the time of man are patterned by the 7 days of creation, each day being 1,000 years, in 2 Peter 3:8. And the last being the 1,000-year millennium of Jesus' rule on the earth, which is the Sabbath for the earth, and the last preparation for God to move heaven to the earth, where the New Jerusalem will descend from out of heaven and be his new home, and God will live with man. Many scriptures talk about the third day, which would be the 1,000 years following the 2,000 years of the church age, but other references to the importance of the third day as well. Hosea 6:2, after 2 days will he revive us, and in the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live. Esther 5:1, now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house, and the king sat on his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. Genesis 22:4. On the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. In Esther, she approached the king and saved all of Israel that was in captivity from being destroyed. In Genesis, Abraham saw the place afar off where he was going to sacrifice Isaac, which through him came the Messiah, and God stopped that action, but yet used it to make the Messiah come through the descendants of Abraham. In Exodus 19:11, and be ready against the third day, for on the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people on Mount Sinai. In Exodus 19:16, and it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people in the camp trembled. In John 2:1, and the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. This is the first miracle of Jesus where he turned water into wine. So why is the third day so important? Because we are nearing that time. The beginning of the third day is right around the corner, and Jesus will come for us and take his church from the earth. Well, that's going to conclude this message right now. Join me next week. We'll continue with our study of the last generation. If you don't know the Lord our shepherd, Jesus, he is the answer, not only the way, the truth, and the life, and the way to become part of the family of God, but he is God's only Messiah that come to teach us these truths, that we could be with him forever. If you don't know him today, ask him into your life. Become part of the family. It'll make a whole lot more sense if you do. If you do know him, get closer to him. His return is soon. This is Hal Richardson. Join me next time. Bye for now.